as well in Guardians of the Galaxy. So Guardians was literally a self-contained standalone film. You didn't have to see any of the cinematic universe to that point. And the way it all came together, it was just amazing because they weren't on planet Earth.
It's like fire.
They were out and about, and we all kind of bought into the Guardians. We bought into where they were fighting against and who.
Venom is supposed to make me
and everything just kind of worked.
Yeah. And
I think James
setting out of
Gunn
space,
did an amazing. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh no!
James Gunn did an amazing job with that.
Normally, if you think Marvel, you think superheroes that are on Earth or a version of Earth, with the occasional going through dimensions with Thor and so it's really great to see them going into space. That there's like this deep space part of the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
With all sorts of stuff going on. So.
And this was a
all
big
the characters
gamble.
Were really iconic as well.
Yeah, this is such a big gamble because before this, I didn't know about the Guardians. I don't think many people did.
No.
I mean, and those who did obviously wouldn't have expected it to be handled in this manner. I think the way they did it, they just proved that they could pretty much pick any kind of film, Marvel, and the help of good direction.
I got the money for Timmy's operation.
Yeah.
And they could turn it into a huge hit, yeah. And I think Batista, for a WWE wrestler, did an amazing job. He was so funny. he got the best one-liners, which never came up in the trailers, which were really good. And he kind of stole the show almost. He almost stole it away from Chris Pratt. But Chris Pratt obviously is...
Well, he's a bit of a... He's not that pretty, but he's a bit of a pretty boy standing around.
Who, Chris Pratt?
The one the girls are supposed to fancy, aren't they? So, yeah.
And I love Chris Pratt because watching Parks and Rec, he got to the bit where he's in London and then he takes a leave of work from Parks and Rec because he can go off and shoot this film, and then comes back during season 6 as well. So I'm a big fan of Chris Pratt and the fact that he honoured Parks and Rec so much because I love it. So to see him in the show and to do the film at the same time, brilliant. Of course, he played Emmett as well. He voiced Emmett in Lego Movie. So I was really looking forward to this. Everything about this worked for me, from the start to the end.
Definitely.
It all just kind of worked, except the holding hands at the end, which was a bit weird. But it all still everything. Even Roman the Accuser, who's a good kind of villain to have to start off against these four. Drax was really good. Groot, obviously with his brute force, and he was really funny even when they were in prison and they're trying to break out. Everything just kind of really worked. It was
music.
Really good. Oh, the soundtrack, yes. That was amazing to have to come up with that idea of having this 80s soundtrack all the way through. It was just genius. Yeah, some heavy tunes, and to have him with a cassette player, and then right at the very end where he kind of picks on, opens the gift, and he gets volume 2. So we're definitely looking forward to more Guardians of the Galaxy in the future. The cutscene at the end, of course, is Howard the Duck. Hopefully Marvel will not touch that franchise anytime soon, because even George Lucas can't help that film then. Just leave it alone.
Even George Lucas?
Yeah, George
Definitely
Lucas.
not George Lucas.
I know, he made 3
These
films.
days, anyway.
Yeah,
Maybe he used to make the movies good.
He did make that awful Indiana Jones film, helped write it. I don't know why Steven Spielberg goes to him. But yeah, so Guardians, I loved it. It's definitely my favourite standalone film of the Marvel franchise, really. Everything about it just really, really good. The soundtrack, very funny.
Beautiful.
Visuals, everything, yeah. And you get...
Beautiful, iconic characters.
Yeah, these characters get introduced in the film, which you'd never heard of before. And you get the origin story in the film. And you kind of... It just works. It's just bizarre, because you wouldn't think it. Because you have to set up a whole new character base and everything, and they did it so well.
Yeah, lovely. Okay, so I'm giving this one a 10, just out of it, straight out.
Straight 10?
Yeah, straight 10 for me.
For me, I'd give it a 9.5.
Okay.
Definitely 9.5. Cool. It was great. And also, it kind of like opens up the world for, in terms of the cinematic universe again, because now we can go into different dimensions, different planets. Also, because of Guardians working so well, Inhumans can work. So, you know, it opens the door for a lot more different franchises that Marvel can now shoot out because Guardians worked. Such a big gamble, paid off, and, you know, we're going to get more and more things from the Guardian world.
Excellent. Looking forward to it.
And then we move nicely into Ultron. Avengers 2.
Ultron.
Josh Whedon's last Avengers film. A lot of problems with Josh Whedon had. I love Josh Whedon, so I can't say nothing bad about him. He did a great job with the first one. Expectations were really high for another one, and I think he delivered. It is what it is. It's an Avengers film. You're going to have huge set pieces, action everywhere. You're going to be fighting against Ultron in this case. Obviously, Tony Stark again makes a mistake and kind of comes up with this idea, and with the help of Banner, they kind of put it together, and he's voiced by James Spader, who's got this amazing iconic voice.
If you want to be in Bane's
and the way he talks throughout the whole film, I loved it. I thought he had that sinister talk about him, and you just felt like something could happen. And he was funny as well throughout the film.
True.
And as Josh Whedon does, he kills off a main character, which I think Marvel may not have liked, but he's just like, I'm going to kill off someone. And I know he's had some problems with Agent Coulson coming back in the SHIELD TV show, but I don't think, you know, Josh Whedon can kind of control what Marvel wants to do.
Whoa!
Marvel will do what Marvel want to do.
Yeah. I mean, from what I've seen, they seem to try to, you know, discuss what sort of things they are going to do and what things they can change and what things they can't, as well as having a lot of freedom. So, yeah, I'm sure they have everything. You know, I'm sure everything's going to run smoothly with the killing off of the character.
Quicksilver.
And of course, yeah, I mean, it's good to see all the new characters coming in at the end
right at
as
the
well.
very end, just because I guess contract talks hadn't kind of like happened, so they just shoved the new Avengers team together, and there was no Tony, there was no Hulk. Thor obviously went off to do his own film, so he ran away at the end, and you were left with a new look Avengers team, which still looked cool. We have to see what happens, because Civil War will be when they all come back together, so it kind of set up Civil War more than anything else.
I mean, if you think about it, it's quite a good idea, because you sort of had all. If we've had standalone films of most of these guys, and now we've had them together, and really, maybe we don't need to hear their story again and again and again. So it's good to have some fresh faces to focus on.
Yeah, it's just a shame that we can't get in the X-Men or Spider-Man yet. I guess Civil War.
Spidey.
Civil War, that's the one. We're hoping Civil War Spidey can turn up, and that's a huge Avenger as well.
You got to stop them.
Yeah,
the contract fight. Oh, Spider-Man.
yeah,
It's
Spider-Man.
definitely moving over, isn't he?
He's definitely coming across. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've even got the first look of the new kid who's going to play Spider-Man. It's just how he'll fit into Civil War and which team he'll be part of. So I'm definitely excited for that as well. I know Josh Whedon wanted him to be in the film, but they couldn't get the contract stuff sorted in time for the film, which would have been cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, another good Avengers film. Not as strong, I think, as the first one, but still, I still enjoyed it. And right at the very end, of course, we got Thanos, who just grabs the glove, and start of Infinity Wars, really. And that's going to be by the Russo brothers, so I'm looking forward to that. I know Josh Whedon doesn't want to do any more Avengers films. That's a shame. But he has left us with some great Avengers films.
I actually found this one better than the first Avengers, personally.
It was really
felt
funny
like-
as well.
Yeah. In the first Avengers, felt a bit loose. I mean, they obviously had the idea of pulling all these heroes together, but I don't think they pulled it off so well in the first one. But the second one, they definitely do.
Get ready to
A lot of
rumble.
these characters that people know now, so they can really get the comedy going between them, and
I smell
feel like
combat.
that we know these characters now.
Yeah, because we've invested into their solo films. We've had the original Avengers film, and now we've got this new one. So
Hey,
we know the characters really well. You're right, and it's good to see them all come together. I like the fact that the Thor gag with his hammer initially in the middle of the film, and then you got the payoff right at the very end when you see Vision just picking it up. And yeah, I think stuff like that did work, really worked, because it could have gone one of two ways. It could have just been a dull kind of moment in the film, but that's when obviously we're introduced to Ultron for the first time, and then you got the bit when Vision comes to life right at the about 3/4 into the film, and then right at the end where he picks up the hammer, which was really good. So yeah, another strong film in the Marvel universe. I think really strong.
So give this a rating.
I'm 7. I'm a 7 on this one as well.
Yeah, I'll give it a 7.5.
And then the last film in Phase 2 is AntMan.
Yeah.
Which has spent a lot of time in kind of development. People have left, directors have come and gone. I know at one point that Josh Whedon said he loved the original, maybe a slight dig at the new guy who's directing it. But it had Paul Rudd, everything looked good, it had Michael Douglas, and I knew it was going to be another fun, enjoyable film. Strong enough, not as good as Iron Man, better than Winter Soldier, and kind of on the region of Thor. That's kind of where I put it as.
Okay. I thought it was a brilliantly made film. Definitely another standalone. I think it was a standalone success. I was expecting something a lot cheesier and a lot emptier, but I guess as you say, a lot of people left. They've obviously put a lot of time into it, and then a little bit of time to the Marvel Cinematic Universe as well.
Yes, with Falcon.
So,
and of course all the two cutscenes right at the very end, one setting up Civil War and one setting up Wasp for future Ant-Man films as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So nicely handled kind of right at the end to bring everything together.
Run! Run!
So I'm guessing in Civil War Ant-Man's going to be part of Cap's team and not so much Iron Man, but we'll have to wait and see. Another strong film. I'd give it a good 6.5 to 7. No, 7. Let's stick to 7 for Ant-Man.
Yeah, I'd still go. Yeah, I'd go with 7. I think I'd agree with that. I mean, it wasn't disappointing. It's good. The weird sort of romance stuff going on was a bit dull, but apart from that,
Run! Run!
yeah, the action and the visuals, and actually going into, I don't know, what do they call it, a quantum universe or something?
Yeah.
Basically going so small that that time doesn't matter. No spoiler. That was just an awesome thing to be putting into a film of this sort of. Something you wouldn't expect to be going into a film like this, I think.
So yeah, so that's kind of like Phase 2 they've left us with in terms of Marvel. We've got a lot. I guess Phase 3's got a lot to live up to, because we've had some great films: Guardians, Cap, Winter Soldier. You've had the sequels to Iron Man and Thor, Ultron as well, and then Ant-Man to finish off Phase 2. So we have to wait and see what's going to come up next summer. I'm really excited for Civil War more than anything else, and then Infinity Wars as well. The rest of the characters, Thor fits in as well.
I'm curious to see how Spider-Man gets pulled off, you know.
Yeah.
How Spider-Man will come out.
It's literally just a kid in a suit. He doesn't need to take his mask off, and he's Spider-Man, and we'd still love it. That's all he needs to do. Just turn up. Just turn up at some point. We don't need no origin story. We know who he is. We've had 2 of them. We just literally just want to see Spidey.
Yeah, that's good.
Venom is supposed to make
they
me
love their
invincible.
origin stories.
Yeah, you have to
So-
redo it all, don't you? Well, that was
Let's
our
hope
review
that-
of Phase 2.
Yeah, let's talk about Spider-Man separately.
There should be Spider-Man in Phase 3.
Okay.
So yeah, that's a review of Phase 2.
Phase 2.
Phase 2 Marvel Universe.
Next up, Phase